Hi, I'm David Gregg, the director of the Rhode Island Natural History Survey. And I'm sorry I can't be with you this evening. The orientation for our BioBlitz 2026 is at Roger Williams Park Zoo this evening. And so I've recorded this presentation to tell you a little bit about the Rhode Island Natural History Survey and the services and resources that we offer to forest landowners who are thinking about their natural resources and conservation of their land. So those of you who aren't familiar with the Rhode Island Natural History Survey, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, member supported, founded in 1994. And we have a mission to improve the resilience of the Rhode Island environment by conserving biodiversity. And the first step in conserving anything is to know what you've got. So we engage the public and members of the conservation community, other nonprofits, agency personnel in gathering data on the animals, plants, and natural communities of Rhode Island. We curate that information and then we share it with people who can use it for conservation, education, and research. So many states have a organization that is concerned with inventorying and sharing information on the natural resources of the state. Rhode Island, like those states, has built right into its constitution the public's right to the natural resources and their enjoyment. Now, a lot of states have had biodiversity surveys since the 19th century, but in Rhode Island, ours was founded in 1994. So if I could put the mission of the Natural History Survey on a bumper sticker, it would be species and natural communities in space and time. So you can think about that as like you're saying, Uncle Fred saw a marbled salamander in my backyard on Thursday. And with those four pieces of information, plus a reference to where that observation is documented with a photograph or specimen or um, Uncle Fred's notes, then that's what you need to track biodiversity. You can make a list of rare species and then you can actually manage for those. So I've realized you hardly ever see spring salamanders. You make maps of the last places where they're known, and then you can have different management strategies for those locations. And that is called a heritage program. And Rhode Island has had a heritage program since the 70s. We do have rare species lists, and we do keep track of where those rare species were last known to be performing their essential life functions, like nesting, hibernating, and feeding. And then we make lists of places where, again, those species carry out essential life activities. The rare species is called an element. The occurrence is where it occurs, where it does not just occurs, not just flying by, but it's where it engages in an essential life activity. We put those on maps. And here's an example. So those green circles would be element occurrences. We draw buffer areas around those, and those are the light green lines. And those are called natural heritage areas. And those are areas that are partially to buffer EOs, one for security, so that we can show maps like this without revealing the exact location of the rare species, because unfortunately and inexplicably, people steal rare species. But also it provides sort of a warning area where if a project has been proposed in an area near an EO, it just flags it up for an extra level of review. If you see a rare species out there, you can actually submit a element occurrence report, such as this, for the Desmodium sessilifolium, the sessile leaf tick trefoil, one of our rare plants. And so let's say here's a map of EOs. You spot that plant. It's a new location. That's where that red square is. Next time we review the natural heritage areas, the green line would be expanded. And so that would actually increase the buffer area protecting that rare species. Now, it's important to remember that that does not mean that the area is protected. And unfortunately, we get this confusion often where a landowner knows of a rare species and is hoping that that will prevent, I don't know, the development of the woods behind their house or something like that. And that is unfortunately not how it works. There are statutes and regulations that require DEM permit issuing authorities to consider the impact of projects on rare species, and that is how these natural heritage areas guide regulation. So heritage areas are not protected, but they are flagged for particular types of review, and that's important to remember. Now, the if you are keeping track of species in space and time, that's good for rare species, and it's also good for invasive species. And the Rhode Island Invasive Species Council is sort of a all volunteer project of the Rhode Island Natural History Survey, where we bring groups together to talk about what invasive species are threatening our various natural resources in Rhode Island. And an invasive species is a species that's not native to Rhode Island, that is living, reproducing, and expanding here at the expense of uh, a natural area or a native species. So the Invasive Species Council has made lists of invasive species. We have partners in the Invasive Species Council who track invasive species. The DEM Office of Water tracks aquatic invasive plants. The CRMC is concerned with invasive saltwater aquatic species, and the Natural History Survey does a lot with plants and animals of the terrestrial environment. We can help identify unknown plants. We could direct you to people who can identify unknown animals and plants that you may find in the wild. It's really important to catch invasive species early. Having this Invasive Species Council is one of the ways that we help cast a net to bring in those observations as landowners are out there doing things on their land. They're the ones who are going to be finding new populations. So if you are interested in invasive species, or you're interested in knowing more about what invasive species policies are going on in Rhode Island, you can contact the Natural History Survey. We'd be happy to help you understand what the situation is. Now, how do we track species in space and time? Well, we have a new biodiversity database called BORIS for the Biota of Rhode Island Index System. This is the second database that we've had that does this. The first one was developed in the early 2000s. This is its successor. And the BORIS database is created with funding from the Conservation Stewardship Collaborative, Narragansett Bay Estuary Program, and Blackburn Labs. And this is a working prototype. We are hoping to develop additional capabilities, but for now, this is a database that we are using to manage the rare species information, as well as invasive species and information from the Natural History Survey's own field projects like BioBlitz, like the annual BioBlitz. If you were to log on to it, as maybe someday you will be able to, you can make an observation query builder. So you can search for observations that meet different criteria, different levels of rarity, different, you could search by town. You get a list of the species that meet your criteria, and you can click a link and get detailed information on each of those observations. You can also get information on a particular species. So if you want to know all that we know about Platanthera ciliaris, in this case, that's an orchid, a rare orchid. You can search Platanthera ciliaris, and you can get all the information about it. You can also get a list of all the observations of that species that we know about, and information on each one of those. So This is great for invasive species. You could search kudzu. You could find out that there is one known population of kudzu in Rhode Island, and it was last spotted about 8 years ago. So we have this is part of our future vision for Boris. We want to provide remote access. Initially, that will be for partner agencies and nonprofit organizations, but I really like the public to be able to participate. I think the public will be really engaged in this. You could get a printout of the ants of Situate, and then you could become famous by finding new ants in Situate. And that'll be great. It'll get people out on the land to find new rare species and to find invasive, to be sort of watchdogs for invasive species. So that's going to be really cool. And then we have a spatial module. We'd really like to be able to do this more of the searching with maps rather than with text. So rather than entering the town you're interested in, you could click on a map on the town on the map and it would do the search. Or you could bring up a search of a certain kind of species. It would show you where those are on a map, and that would allow you to get a really quick interpretation, visual interpretation of their distribution in the state. So that's hopefully in the future. And we'd also really like to develop a digital archive where um, you click on something, you find out there's a certain species in the town of Johnston, and there's a citation to an old report from 1981 that was where this plant had been found. Right now, you would have to take that citation, copy it down, go to the library, look it up. But a lot of those reports are already digitized, and many of them, especially when they're unpublished reports or field notes, don't exist in libraries. They only exist in one copy or a handful of copies. If we were to digitize them, you could click straight through to those, and you could, essentially, continue your research right within Boris as you can go from one of these documents to another. So that's the future vision. Uh, so, just in conclusion, I really want to encourage people who are interested in the biodiversity of their properties to get involved with community organizations that already exist that are interested in different taxa. So, the Wild Plant Society, Rhode Island Mycological Society, Ocean State Bird Club, and Audubon Society. So, uh, Trout Unlimited. And of course, when you are finding things on your property, let the survey know. You can send us emails, you can send us a list, you can download one of those rare species reporting forms, and you can email that to us or send it to us snail mail. So there's nothing quite like an engaged public for documenting the biodiversity of Rhode Island, and that's what we want. And then when you're interested in managing your properties, if you're interested to know what rare species might or invasive species might be in your area, we may or may not have data on your particular property, but if you're interested in the information that's around you, we can probably provide that as well. And we have relatively limited capacity to come control your invasive species or manage for your rare species. But like I said, the first step in managing anything is to know what you've got. So that is really where we see the survey's role right now. And we would love to be able to help you get a foot in the door on managing your land. So that is a quick thumbnail sketch of the Rhode Island Natural History Survey. You can reach out to us. Our website is rinhs.org. You can email info@rinhs.org, or you can email me, David Gregg, at dgregg@rinhs.org. And our phone number is 401 874 5800. And our office is at URI's East Farm on Route 108 in Kingston. You can drop in and say hi. So thanks very much. Sorry I can't be there.